Welcome back to Module 3. Derek Thomas here. This is one of my favorite topics, sync licensing. This is where I got my Adidas deal. This is where worship leaders can make 10 to 50 grand from a single placement. This is where the big money is. So let me show you how it works and how to get your music in front of the right people. All right, so let's look at sync licensing. Sync licensing is the same as synchronization licensing. It's when your music is synchronized with visual media, TV shows, film, commercials, video games, corporate videos, apps or software, and of course, YouTube videos. All right. The sync license grants permission to use your song in the project, synchronize it with the video, and distribute that project or the project with your song included. And you get paid two ways: a sync fee, which is a one time upfront payment for the license, as well as back end royalties, which are ongoing performance royalties. They're collected by BMI, ASCAP, whichever your pro is, every time the project airs. All right. In my example, I have the Adidas deal, for instance. Sync fee, negotiated, paid up front, several $1,000s, and then on the back end, collected quarterly by BMI every time the commercial aired. So that's how I was getting paid. Total of over 30 plus grand. All right. How much can you make? I'm glad you asked, because sync fees vary widely and wildly. Here's a breakdown. Indie projects, independent, this like a student film, 0 to 500, an independent film, 500 to 5,000, a web series, 100 to 1,000, a small brand video, 500 to 2,000. But then like a mid-tier project, like cable TV show, 25 to 10,000, independent theatrical film, 5 grand to 15 grand, regional commercial, it could be anywhere from 5 to 20 grand, and a video, 2,000 to 15,000. A higher tier project, network TV show, 10 grand to 30, national commercial, 25 to 500 plus grand, 500,000. Major film, wide release, 50 grand to 250,000 plus. Major video game, 20,000 to 100,000 plus back end royalties can be huge. If your song is used in a hit TV show that airs 100 times in syndication, you could earn $50 to $100,000 in back end royalties over the years. So here's how it works. Let me walk you through the typical process. We'll start with step one. A music supervisor or a brand needs a song. Music supervisors work for TV shows, ad agencies, video game companies, production companies, and they're looking for songs that fit the vibe, the emotion, and the budget of the project. Okay. So step two is they search for songs. Okay. They search through sync libraries, which are catalogs of pre-cleared music. They search through direct submissions from publishers and songwriters, also through recommendations from sync agents and music they hear and seek out. Right? Step three, they request a quote. If they like your song, they'll reach out or have your publisher and your agent reach out and ask, what's your sync fee for whatever it is they want to do with it? And can we get this cleared quickly? Do you have control of both the master and the publishing? Right? That's what they want to know. And then step four is you begin to negotiate. You or your publisher and agent, you begin to negotiate. You negotiate the sync fee, which is how much upfront. Terms, how long can they have it for? A year, 5, or forever? Territory, where they want to air it, US, worldwide, media, TV, exclusivity. If I can say the words right. Can you understand the words coming out of my mouth? Can you license it to competitors? Okay. In the next step, they want to know that you sign the license and then you get paid. Once terms are agreed to, you sign a sync license and an agreement. They pay the sync fee usually 50% up front, 50% upon delivery or airing. Then the project airs and you start collecting back end royalties through your pro. So, master versus publishing. Here's something critical to understand. When someone wants to sync your song, they need two licenses. They need the sync license for the composition and for the publishing. This covers the song itself, melody, lyrics, negotiated with the songwriters and the publishers, the fee split between songwriter and publisher. They need that. Second thing they need is the master license for the sound recording. This covers the specific recording and it's negotiated with the owner of the master, usually the artist or label. The fee goes to whoever owns the master. If you're an independent artist who wrote and recorded your song, you control both. And this is called being a one stop. The licensee only has to deal with one person, you, for both licenses. Huge advantage in sync. Okay? Music supervisors love one stops because it's faster clearance, only one negotiation. It's lower cost, no splitting fees between multiple parties, and it's less paperwork. So if you don't own your master, if a label owns your recording, the sync fee gets split 50% songwriter, publisher, you, and 50% to the master owner of the label. And you make less, okay? So if you're recording your own music, you own the master. And this makes your music more attractive for sync. Okay? So how to get your music heard by music supervisors? How do you get the sync placements? Here are the main paths. Path 1. Join sync libraries. Sync libraries are curated catalogs of pre-cleared music that music supervisors browse. Top sync libraries for worship and indie artists would be musicbed.com, artlist.io, epidemicsound.com, AudioSocket, and Marmoset. Okay? Did you get that? MusicBed is a high energy library, higher payouts. Artlist.io is a subscription base for creators. Epidemicsound.com is high volume, lower per track pay. AudioSocket is good for indie artists, and Marmoset is a boutique library, and it's very, very selective. So here's how it works. You submit your songs, they curate, not everything gets accepted, and your songs go into their catalog. Music supervisors browse those catalogs and license, and you get paid when someone licenses your track. The pro is its passive income. They do the pitching. Okay, it's broad exposure to supervisors and profession. It's a professional platform. Okay, the cons are it's competitive, not easy to get accepted. Non-exclusive versus exclusive. So you read the terms carefully. All right, they take a cut. They usually take 50%. Pause and think about it. All right, so path 2, work with a sync agent. Sync agents actively pitch your songs, your music to specific projects. So here's how to find one. Attend sync conferences like NARIP or a Sync Summit conference or ASCAP, I Create Music. They have a conference. And then you want to network with other songwriters, of course, who have agents. Research agencies that handle your genre, Christian worship. Okay, here's what they do. They build relationships with music supervisors. They pitch your songs for specific projects. They negotiate fees on your behalf. And they take 20 to 30% commission. So the advantage of that is proactive pitching, not just passive library. All right, industry relationships that you don't have. And of course, expert negotiation. The cons, though, would be hard to get an agent without a track record. They can take a significant cut. And they might not prioritize your music if you're not established. Okay? Path 3, though, direct pitching. This is a do it yourself. You reach out to music supervisors directly. Here's how to do it: research shows and films that would fit your music. Find the music supervisor's name, like through the IMDb or credits or through LinkedIn even. Send a short professional email with the subject, worship music. Body, hi, my name is I write worship music that might fit your project. Here's a link to 3 to 5 songs. No attachments because they won't open them. And then keep it under 5 sentences. The pros are there's no middleman. You keep 100% of the sync fee and you got direct relationship going on. The cons, it's time consuming, low response rate, and you need professional quality recordings. All right? Let's look at path number 4, music supervisor events. Attending conferences, networking events where music supervisors speak and take pitches. All right? So there's certain events to attend. The National Association of Record Industry Professionals. That's NARIP. Or ASCAP, I Create Music Expo. Or the SXSW Music Supervisors Panels. And of course, Sync Summit. So what happens is supervisors give presentations. They hold speed pitching sessions. You can submit music. You can network afterwards. The pros are it's face-to-face networking, all right? Direct feedback on your music, and it's real relationships. But the cons are it costs money to attend. It's competitive, and it's not guaranteed results. All right? So what makes music sync friendly? Not all music is easy to sync. So here's what they are looking for. Here's what the music supervisors are looking for. Instrumental versions, always have an instrumental, no vocals version of your song. Many placements need music without lyrics, okay? 2, you want to have clean, professional production. Your recordings need to sound polished, not demo quality, but broadcast quality. Follow me? Number 3, emotional but not overpowering. Sync must often sit in the background. It supports the scene. It doesn't dominate the scene. Worship music can be too in your face for some placements. So make sure you have a different version. All right? Varied lengths would be the next point. Okay? Have multiple edits. A full version of 3 to 4 minutes, a 60-second edit, a 30-second edit, and a 15-second edit for like social media. And then next is clear ownership. If you own both the master and the publishing, one stop, then say so in your pitch. This makes you more attractive. Next, no samples or interpolations. Okay? If your song uses samples or borrows from another song, an interpolation, it's harder to clear. So you want to have original music only. Sound good? Your assignment is to first create instrumental versions of your top 3 songs. If you don't have instrumentals, make this a priority. And then sync supervisors need options, so you need to do this. Step 2 is choose one sync path to pursue. Join a sync library, research and submit to like MusicBed or Artlist. Find a sync agent, start networking, researching agents, or do the direct pitch. Make a list of 10 shows and brands that fit your music and find their supervisors. All right? Next is prepare your pitch materials. You need professional recordings, 3 to 5 songs, a one sheet, which is a PDF with your bio, your song descriptions, and a contact info in there. Streaming links to the streaming platforms, and then a master, and of course, publishing ownership confirmation. And then lastly, post it in the community for us. I'm pursuing sync licensing through whatever path you chose. Here's my first step, and whatever that action is. And in the next lesson, we're going to be covering copyright protection, how to legally protect your songs, what to do if someone steals your song, steals your work. Doesn't happen a lot, but when it happens, you got to be protected. See you next module.